Michael, the Mercedes guy again. This is a beautiful 116 bodied car, a 300 SD turbo, and these cars also came with gas engines. A common problem: license plate lights quit working, and I use my tester. This is handy. And there's no juice at the contact strip for the bulb. However, on the back side, there is. So what has happened is, and I'll show you in a little bit, it's corroded to where there's no connection. To remove the license plate light assembly, they make it interesting. You've got to pull one of the tail lights. To remove the tail lights, lots of times these screws are pretty rusty. So yeah, use some WD-40. Then use some oil. Now these are pretty clean and not rusty, so I'm just going to oil them right off the bat. And that's important, because if you don't have some lubrication on that stud, the other end of the stud goes into plastic and you can break the stud loose. So you don't want to have that happen. The reason that we need to remove the tail light, and here's another license plate light assembly, and you can see that it won't come off because this tab is under this piece of chrome. And that piece of chrome is held on by a screw right here. So I got that screw out. And then there's another screw right here. Somebody has glued the rubber, the taillight rubber seal, somebody has glued it to the body, thinking that it's leaking water. And as you can see, this seal is very deteriorated. And of course, gluing the seal to the body really isn't going to help. They should have put on a new seal. But this is common to find where people had just glued the heck out of everything, so you got to be kind of careful if you're going to reuse that seal. Also, to access the additional fasteners, it's easier to take this plastic off, and you take the screws out along it, and then it pops off by grabbing this forward lip and pulling up. And then there's some 8mm nuts, 2 of them. Again, you want to oil before you remove them. Well, you may be able, there's 2 more studs with the nuts through these access holes, and those holes are partially blocked. So be on the safe side. Take this off, so at least you can hold on to your socket while you're getting off those 2 nuts. Okay, now this is a nice trick. You're going to be taking off fasteners that are down in there, and you want to retain the fastener. You don't want it to drop down into oblivion. So take a piece of tape and stick it in your socket. That way when you put it over the nut or bolt, it's going to be stuck in that socket. And you don't lose it. Okay, we've got both fasteners off. This thing is starting to get loose. Next step, you have to disconnect the vacuum lock, which is a little tricky. You're going to want to have your handy dandy little magnet, because you've got to take off a clip. And of course you want to not lose it. That little clip right there. Now we're ready to pull the light assembly out. There's a grommet right here. Simply push it in. There's a grommet right here. Simply push it out. And pull that other grommet through the hole as well. And there you have your license plate light assembly. With this off, it's much easier to access. Somebody's already taken off a lens there. And the problem is, with these things, you can hook your test light to a ground, to the body, and plug this in, and the lights don't work. And you go to test here, and there's no juice at all. Well, the problem is that Mercedes started making things a little cheaper. And here's our hot lead. This is the ground. This hot lead has a rivet through a piece of plastic that's the other end of this contact. And what happens is, especially in states that use salt on the roads or you're near the ocean, the salt air will get in there and actually destroy part of this rivet, making for no electrical juice passing to this contact. So you don't have lights.